The Awakening. The crimson sun of Novaterra cast long shadows across the rugged landscape, its dying light painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. For generations, the human colony had thrived on this distant world, isolated from the rest of the galaxy by choice and circumstance. Their ancestors had fled a dying Earth, seeking a fresh start among the stars. Now, centuries later, the colonists of Novaterra had all but forgotten their cosmic origins. Dr. Elena Rees stood at the edge of the colony's protective dome, her eyes fixed on the horizon. As the lead xenoarchaeologist, she had dedicated her life to uncovering the secrets of Novaterra's past. The planet, while habitable, bore signs of an ancient civilization long gone. For years, Elena had searched for concrete evidence of their existence, and today she felt closer than ever. Dr. Rees, a voice crackled through her comm device. The survey team has found something. You need to see this. Elena's heart raced as she made her way to the excavation site. The dig, located in a deep ravine several kilometers from the colony, had been ongoing for months. As she approached, she saw her team gathered around a large metallic object partially buried in the red soil. "What have we got?" Elena asked, her voice barely containing her excitement. Her assistant, Jax, looked up, his eyes wide with wonder. "We're not entirely sure, but it's like nothing we've ever seen before. It's reacting to our presence." Elena knelt beside the object, brushing away the dirt with gloved hands. The metal, if it could be called that, was smooth and cool to the touch. Strange, iridescent patterns danced across its surface, responding to her movements. "It's some kind of artifact," Elena muttered, more to herself than to the team. "But what does it do?" As if in response to her question, the artifact began to hum. The vibrations grew stronger, and the patterns on its surface became more intricate and vibrant. Elena and her team stepped back, watching in awe as the object rose from the ground, hovering in midair. Should we call for backup?" Jax asked, his voice trembling. Elena shook her head, unable to tear her eyes away from the spectacle before her. "No, not yet. This could be the discovery of a lifetime. We need to observe and document everything." The artifact continued to rise, its humming growing louder. Suddenly, a beam of brilliant blue light shot from its center, streaking into the darkening sky. The ground beneath their feet trembled, and in the distance, they heard the low rumble of what sounded like thunder. Dr. Rees, one of the team members, called out, pointing to the sky. "Look." Elena turned her gaze upward and gasped. The beam of light had pierced the atmosphere, creating a swirling vortex of energy high above Novaterra. As they watched, the vortex expanded, its edges shimmering with an otherworldly glow. It's a portal," Elena whispered, her scientific mind racing to comprehend what she was seeing. "We've activated some kind of interstellar gateway." The implications of their discovery were staggering. For centuries, the people of Novaterra had believed they were alone in the universe. Now, in a matter of minutes, that belief had been shattered. As the team stood transfixed by the sight above them, a new sound cut through the air. It was a high-pitched whine, growing louder by the second. Elena squinted, trying to locate its source. "There," Jax shouted, pointing to a cluster of bright lights descending from the vortex. Elena's breath caught in her throat as she realized what she was seeing. Ships, dozens of them, were emerging from the portal. Their sleek, silver hulls gleamed in the fading sunlight as they entered Novaterra's atmosphere. "We need to alert the colony," Elena said, snapping into action. "Jax, contact the governor. Tell them we have first contact." As the team scrambled to gather their equipment and make their way back to the colony, Elena couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and terror. They had sought to uncover the secrets of Novaterra's past, but in doing so, they had inadvertently opened the door to a future beyond their wildest imaginations. The journey back to the colony was a blur of frantic activity. Elena's mind raced with questions and possibilities. Who were these visitors? Were they the descendants of the civilization that had once inhabited Novaterra, or were they something else entirely? As they approached the colony's protective dome, Elena saw that word of their discovery had already spread. Crowds had gathered at the observation decks, their faces pressed against the transparent barriers as they gazed at the alien ships now hovering above their home. Governor Alessandra Chen was waiting for Elena at the airlock, her usually composed features etched with concern. "Dr. Rees, what in the name of all that's holy have you done?" Elena took a deep breath, trying to calm her racing heart. "Governor, we've made contact with an alien civilization. The artifact we uncovered, it was some kind of beacon or gateway. We've opened a door to the rest of the galaxy." The governor's eyes widened. "Are they hostile?" "We don't know," Elena admitted. "They haven't made any aggressive moves yet, but we need to be prepared for anything." As if on cue, a deep, resonant tone echoed through the colony. It seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once, filling the air with its alien melody. "What's happening?" Governor Chen demanded, looking around wildly. Elena felt a strange tingling sensation at the base of her skull. I think they're trying to communicate." The tone shifted, becoming more complex, layered with harmonics that seemed to bypass their ears and speak directly to their minds. And then, miraculously, words began to form. "People of Novaterra," a voice echoed in their thoughts, rich and melodious. "We are the Zarkian Collective. We have awaited your awakening for eons." Elena and the governor exchanged shocked glances. The aliens knew who they were, had been waiting for them. But why? "We come in peace," the voice continued, "but we bring grave tidings. Your activation of the ancient beacon has not gone unnoticed. There are others, beings of unimaginable power and hunger, who now turn their gaze upon your world." A chill ran down Elena's spine. They had unknowingly announced their presence to the galaxy, and not all who heard their call were friendly. "We offer our protection and our knowledge," the Zarkian voice said. "But the choice to accept must be yours. The fate of your people, and perhaps of all sentient life, hangs in the balance." As the voice faded, Elena turned to Governor Chen. The weight of their situation pressed down upon them both. In a matter of hours, their isolated existence had been shattered, and now they faced a decision that would alter the course of human history. "What do we do?" the governor asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Elena looked out at the alien ships hovering above their colony, then back to the frightened faces of her people. She thought of the artifact, of the ancient civilization that had come before them, and of the vast unknown galaxy that now lay open before them. "We listen," Elena said firmly. "We learn, and then we decide. The people of Novaterra have always been explorers at heart. It's time we embraced that heritage and faced whatever the universe has in store for us." As night fell on Novaterra, its people stood on the precipice of a new era. The isolation that had defined their existence for generations had come to an end. Whether this new chapter would bring enlightenment or extinction remained to be seen, but one thing was certain: the human spirit of curiosity and resilience would be put to the ultimate test. The Alliance. The following days on Novaterra were a whirlwind of activity and emotion. The initial shock of first contact had given way to a mixture of excitement, fear, and cautious optimism. Dr. Elena Rees found herself at the center of it all, acting as the primary liaison between the human colonists and the Zarkian visitors. The Zarkians, as it turned out, were a species of bioluminescent, cephalopod-like beings. Their bodies pulsed with patterns of light that seemed to shift with their moods and thoughts. Communication, initially facilitated through advanced translation devices, soon became more fluid as both species learned to interpret each other's signals and expressions. Elena stood in the newly constructed diplomatic chamber, a neutral space created within the colony's dome for meetings between humans and Zarkians. Beside her, Governor Chen fidgeted nervously, her eyes darting between the alien delegates and the armed guards stationed discreetly around the room. Zulrun, the Zarkian emissary, floated gracefully in a containment field filled with a shimmering, oxygenated liquid. His tentacles waved gently as he spoke, his skin flickering with patterns of blue and green. "We understand your hesitation," Zalrin said, his thoughts translated into words. "Trust is not easily given, especially between species so different, but the threat we face leaves us little choice but to stand together." Elena leaned forward, her curiosity piqued. "You mentioned beings of unimaginable power and hunger. Can you tell us more about them? Who are they, and why are they a threat to us?" Zolrin's colors darkened, shifting to deep purples and reds. "They are known as the Void Eaters, ancient entities that exist between the stars, consuming all in their path. Your activation of the beacon has drawn their attention, awakening them from their long slumber." Governor Chen's brow furrowed. But why would the ancients create such a beacon if it posed such a danger? "The beacon was not meant to awaken the Void Eaters," Zalrin explained. "It was a call for help, a last desperate act of a dying civilization. Your ancestors, the ones who first colonized this world, they were not the first to walk its surface." Elena's mind raced with the implications. "You mean there was an advanced civilization here before us? What happened to them?" Zalrin's tentacles curled inward, a gesture they had come to recognize as one of sadness or regret. "They were the progenitors, a species of immense wisdom and technological prowess. They seeded countless worlds with life, including your Earth. But even they fell before the Void Eaters." The rune fell silent as the weight of this revelation settled upon them. Humans were not only not alone in the universe, but they were also part of a cosmic legacy far grander and more terrifying than they had ever imagined. "So, what do we do now?" Governor Chen asked, her voice steady despite the fear Elena could see in her eyes. "How do we fight something that defeated a civilization far more advanced than our own?" Zolrin's colors brightened slightly. "Alone, neither of our species stands a chance. But together, combining Zarkian knowledge with human ingenuity, we may yet find a way. The progenitors left behind more than just the beacon. There are other artifacts, other technologies scattered across this world and others. If we can unlock their secrets, we may find the key to our survival." Elena felt a surge of determination. This was why she had become a xenoarchaeologist, to uncover the mysteries of the past and use that knowledge to shape the future. "I'll assemble a team immediately. We'll scour every inch of Novaterra if we have to." Governor Chen nodded, a hint of a smile on her face. "And I'll address the colony. Our people need to know what we're facing and why this alliance is necessary." As the meeting concluded and plans were set in motion, Elena couldn't help but feel a mix of dread and excitement. The fate of not just Novaterra, but potentially all of humanity, rested on their shoulders. The next few weeks would be crucial. The days that followed were a flurry of activity. Elena and her team, now bolstered by Zarkian scientists, combed through the ruins scattered across Novaterra's surface. Each discovery brought new insights into the progenitors' technology and the nature of the threat they faced. One evening, as Elena pored over data in her lab, Jax burst through the door, his face flushed with excitement. "Dr. Reeves, we found something in the northern mountains. You need to see this." Elena followed Jax to a holographic display where a 3D image of a massive structure rotated slowly. It was unlike anything they had seen before, a towering spire of crystalline material that seemed to defy the laws of physics. "Is this progenitor technology?" Elena asked, her voice filled with awe. Jax nodded enthusiastically. "We think so. And look at this." He zoomed in on a section of the spire, revealing intricate patterns etched into its surface. "These markings, they're similar to the ones on the beacon we activated." Elena's heart raced. This could be the breakthrough they needed. "Have you shown this to the Zarkians yet?" "Not yet," Jax replied. "I came straight to you." "Good," Elena said, already moving towards the door. "We need to get a team out there immediately. This could be the key to everything." As they prepared for the expedition, news came from the colony's defense forces. Strange energy readings had been detected at the edge of the solar system. The Void Eaters were approaching. Governor Chen called an emergency meeting with the Zarkian leadership. Elena attended, her mind split between the impending threat and the potential salvation hidden in the mountains. Our long-range sensors have detected multiple anomalies entering the system, the colony's defense chief reported grimly. Based on the Zarkian data, we believe these are Void Eater scout ships. Zulrun's colors pulsed with urgency. We must act quickly. If these are indeed scouts, the main force will not be far behind. Elena stepped forward, her heart pounding. We may have found something that can help. A progenitor structure in the northern mountains. If we can unlock its secrets, it might give us a fighting chance. Governor Chen looked between Elena and the Zarkian delegates. How long do we have? The defense chief shook his head. Days, maybe a week at most before the scouts reach Novaterra. Then we have no choice, the governor declared. Dr. Rees, you have full authority to do whatever it takes to unlock that structure. The rest of us will prepare the colony for war. As the meeting adjourned, Elena felt the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. She had always dreamed of making groundbreaking discoveries, of unlocking the secrets of the universe. But now those dreams had become a desperate race against time, with the fate of two species hanging in the balance. She gathered her team, a mix of human researchers and Zarkian scientists, and prepared for the journey to the northern mountains. As they boarded the transport, Elena looked back at the colony, its protective dome gleaming in the light of Novaterra's setting sun. She silently vowed to do whatever it took to protect her home and the future of both humanity and their newfound allies. The transport lifted off, carrying them towards what Elena hoped would be the key to their survival. As they flew over the rugged landscape, she couldn't help but think of the progenitors who had walked this world eons ago. What wisdom had they left behind? What terrible knowledge of the Void Eaters might they uncover? Only time would tell, and time was the one thing they were quickly running out of. The final battle for existence was approaching, and Elena knew that the discoveries they made in the coming days would determine whether Novaterra would be the last stand of two dying species or the birthplace of a new era of cosmic cooperation. As the transport disappeared into the battle for existence, the journey to the northern mountains was tense, each passing moment a stark reminder of the approaching threat. Elena's team worked tirelessly, analyzing data and preparing equipment for their exploration of the progenitor structure. As their transport crested the final ridge, the crystalline spire came into view, its iridescent surface catching the light of Novaterra's twin moons. "It's beautiful," Jax whispered, his eyes wide with wonder. Elena nodded, her throat tight with emotion. "And possibly our last hope." As they set up base camp at the foot of the structure, the Zarkian scientists immediately began scanning the spire with their advanced equipment. Zulrun, who had insisted on joining the expedition, floated nearby in his containment field, his tentacles weaving complex patterns in the air. The energy readings are off the charts, one of the Zarkian researchers reported, their bioluminescent skin pulsing with excitement. "This structure, it's not just a building, it's alive." Elena approached the base of the spire, her hand hovering just above its smooth surface. She could feel a faint vibration, a hum of power that seemed to resonate with something deep within her. Without thinking, she pressed her palm against the crystal. A surge of energy coursed through her body, and suddenly, her mind was flooded with images and sensations. She saw vast starfields, alien worlds teeming with life, and terrible shadowy entities that devoured everything in their path. In an instant, she understood. "It's a weapon," Elena gasped as the vision faded, her legs buckling beneath her. Jax rushed to her side, supporting her as she struggled to catch her breath. The progenitors, they created it to fight the Void Eaters, but they never got the chance to use it. Zulrun's colors shifted rapidly, a sign of intense emotion. "Can you operate it? Can we use it to defend ourselves?" Elena shook her head, still reeling from the experience. "It's not that simple. The weapon, It's key to progenitor DNA, and it requires an enormous amount of energy to activate. As the team debated their next move, a priority message came through from the colony. The Void Eater scout ships had entered the system and were advancing rapidly. They had less than 48 hours before the main force arrived. Governor Chen's hologram flickered to life in the center of their camp. "Dr. Rees, please tell me you have good news." Elena quickly explained what she had discovered about the progenitor weapon. The governor's face fell as she realized the implications. "So, we have a super weapon that we can't use," Chen said, her voice heavy with disappointment. "Any other options?" Zolrin moved forward, his tentacles waving in a pattern that Elena had come to recognize as deep thought. Perhaps there is a way. The progenitors seeded many worlds with life, including Earth. Is it not possible that some trace of their DNA remains in humans? A spark of hope ignited in Elena's chest. It's a long shot, but it might be our only chance. We'll need volunteers to test the interface. "And the energy problem?" Jax asked. Elena smiled weakly, feeling the new connection she shared with both her human kin and their Zarkian allies. "Then our real work is just beginning." As she drifted off to sleep, Elena knew that the people of Novaterra, human and Zarkian alike, were no longer isolated colonists on a distant world. They were the guardians of a cosmic legacy, the inheritors of the progenitor's mission to seed the galaxy with life and understanding. The battle for existence had been won, but the greatest adventure was yet to come. Together, they would explore the stars, seek out new civilizations, and ensure that the light of consciousness would forever shine bright against the darkness of the void. As Novaterra's sun rose on a new era, its people looked to the sky not with fear, but with hope and wonder. The universe, in all its vast and terrifying beauty, awaited them. Elena's mind raced. The colony's fusion reactors, if we reroute all power to the weapon, it might be enough, but it would leave us defenseless. Governor Chen's hologram flickered as she considered their options. Finally, she nodded. "Do it. I'll begin evacuating non-essential personnel to the emergency bunkers. If this fails, at least some of our people might survive." As the governor's image faded, Elena turned to her team. "We have less than 2 days to figure this out. Let's get to work." The next 36 hours were a blur of frantic activity. Elena and Jax worked alongside the Zarkian scientists, testing various combinations of human and Zarkian DNA against the weapon's interface. Meanwhile, engineers from the colony arrived to begin the process of linking the fusion reactors to the progenitor structure. As the deadline approached, they had made progress, but not enough. The weapon responded to human DNA, but not strongly enough to fully activate. Elena felt despair creeping in as failure after failure piled up. It was Zolrin who made the breakthrough. "What if," he proposed, his colors pulsing with inspiration, "we combine human DNA with Zarkian bioluminescent proteins? Our ability to manipulate light and energy might bridge the gap." With time running out, they had nothing to lose. Elena volunteered for the procedure, allowing the Zarkian scientist to infuse her cells with their bioluminescent compounds. As the process completed, she felt a strange tingling throughout her body, and her skin took on a faint, otherworldly glow. "It's time," Elena said, approaching the weapon's control interface. "Whatever happens, it's been an honor working with all of you." She placed her hand on the crystal's surface, and this time, the response was immediate and overwhelming. The entire structure hummed to life, energy coursing through its crystalline lattice. Elena's mind expanded, connecting with the ancient technology in ways she could barely comprehend. Through the weapon's sensors, she could see the Void Eaters approaching, a terrifying armada of shadow and hunger that blotted out the stars. With a thought, she activated the defense systems, drawing power from the colony's reactors. A beam of pure energy lanced out from the spire, slicing through the first wave of Void Eater ships. But it wasn't enough. More kept coming, an endless tide of destruction. Elena pushed harder, channeling more power through the weapon. She could feel the strain on her body, the human and Zarkian elements within her fighting to contain the enormous energies she was wielding. "It's not enough," she gasped, her voice strained. "We need more power." Zolran moved closer, his tentacles reaching out to touch the interface beside Elena's hand. "Then take ours," he said, his thoughts resonating with determination. "The Zarkian Collective offers our energy freely." One by one, the other Zarkians joined, forming a chain of bioluminescent energy that flowed into Elena and through her into the weapon. The spire blazed with light, visible from orbit as a beacon of defiance against the encroaching darkness. The Void Eaters recoiled, their advance halted by the combined power of human determination and Zarkian sacrifice. Elena felt her consciousness expand, touching the minds of the invaders. She saw their hunger, their ancient pain, and in that moment she understood. With the last of her strength, Elena reached out not with destruction, but with empathy. The weapon's energy shifted, enveloping the Void Eater fleet in a cocoon of light. For a moment that seemed to stretch into eternity, two vastly different forms of life touched and understood each other. And then it was over. The Void Eaters, that hunger finally sated by something other than consumption, retreated into the depths of space. The weapon's energy faded, and Elena collapsed, caught by Jax before she could hit the ground. As consciousness slowly returned, Elena found herself in the colony's medical bay, surrounded by both human and Zarkian faces filled with concern and awe. Did we win?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. Governor Chen stepped forward, tears in her eyes. "We did more than win, Dr. Reeves. You've given us a future. The Void Eaters are gone, and in their wake, they've left us a gift. The secret of faster-than-light travel. The galaxy is open to us now, to explore and to protect."